Hi, we're looking at 10 lost English customs. I believe they're lost anyway, or maybe they're UK-ish type of traditional customs. Hi, I'm Steffi from across the pond and back. Welcome. For those of you who've seen my video, Return to England after 18 years, and then you'll notice that this is the same area, the same location, slightly different angle, but it's just so beautiful. I like coming here, I like meeting a few people, and okay, so off we go. I just thought it would be interesting and for reminiscing purposes mainly, and anyone who wants to add, I'll be very glad to hear your memories or viewpoints. So 10 things that I've noticed since I got back to the UK. They're not very prevalent, and if they are around, they're not like very much there. If that makes sense to you? Alright, so number one, birthday parties for children at home. I remember when I was growing up and I was maybe 4 or 5 up to the age of about 12. We used to absolutely love having our birthday parties at home, and I was thrilled because people were coming to our home, and my mum used to give me a limit on the amount of children, and then I'd plan about, or she would mainly, where they were going to sit around the table. I was so excited. My mum used to make ice cream and jelly. Sometimes she made a birthday cake, maybe possibly she'd buy it, but either way we had the candles, we had it, and then we had the games. We had the musical chairs and the pass the parcel. That was my absolute favourite. So all of those, reminiscing myself, things that we used to do at the birthday parties, and of course the presents at the end, which was very nice. Then the sad time, say goodbye to my friends, and it was just so nice. I grew up with that. Now I am seeing that the trend is now, oh, we're going to meet at whatever, climbing, fast food restaurant, whatever it is, pizza place. I can see the draw to that, but for me, I'm so glad I've got those memories. Actually, I'm glad I've got my memories of the ice cream and jelly at home, and my slightly younger sister, she will remember those too, and no doubt she'll be able to relate to that. So that's the first one. Second one, well, tea at 4, that is very much a stereotype, I know. And many Americans used to talk to me about that kind of thing, or ask me, do we do tea at 4, and do English people do that? Well, of course, in the soap operas and period dramas and things, they do, because it was part of English life over 100 years ago. So here, I wouldn't say particularly we have tea at 4, but we do have tea all day long. So tea any time of day, really. Of course, we're a nation of tea drinkers, we're well known for that, but I have seen a growing trend for coffee, including myself, which is very strange, because when I moved to Florida, I was very much a tea drinker for a long time, and now I'm back here, I'm a coffee drinker. I don't know why that is. Strange, isn't it? But anyway, tea at 4 is generally much more of a very traditional thing that kind of still happens, but not actually at 4. My nan used to do that. She used to change her clothes in the afternoon after doing housework or washing in the morning, get ready, go to her dancing club, and they'd have tea at 4. I think they even had a bell, actually, but that was my nan's generation, so we're talking about 2 generations ago now. So I think for the most part that's gone, but it's still kind of around with the older age group, but that's something that is not too important, but it's part of the English heritage, isn't it? So next one, we used to call a policeman bobbies. I don't know whether you've ever heard that, relate to it or whatever, but the younger ones probably won't even heard of that, but we used to call policemen in England bobbies, and I used to see them walking around our high street, usually on their own or just with another one, and they had this kind of the dome's shape helmet hat and they were always friendly. I mean, they were so friendly. I can't remember a time really when I was growing up when I was scared of them. They were very approachable, very amenable, souls. So Bobby's on the beat was how it was put. So you remember that phrase, Bobby's on the beat? So yeah, that was another memory that I don't see. I still see them around, but it's not quite the same. The actual whole atmosphere of England has changed, of course, but that included their kind of demeanour and so on has become. We might see a few people coming and toing and froing here because it's Sunday afternoon. They're out for a walk. So, all right. So, do you remember when the Bobbies used to come to the schools and teach children about the Green Cross Code? Do you remember that? I do. So this whole video is probably going to make me look old, but it's interesting to reminisce. And just for the record, I do remember the Green Cross Code. It's probably there, but I don't hear it termed the Green Cross Code anymore. Anyone out there, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm a teacher, so I think I would have heard that in school, but I think they probably just call it something different now, but it used to be the Green Cross Code. Okay, next one, milkman. I know there's companies who get hold of that idea still and want to keep it going with delivering milk, and I think that's great, but of course it's more expensive. So whereas nearly everybody I knew, I can remember when I was growing up, we used to have milk delivered. We used to hear that clinking of the empties being collected and the full ones were being delivered. And that was quite exciting in itself, thinking back. Again, if my sister's watching, do you remember that, sis? Because I do. I have a very clear memory of the milk, and the cream used to rise to the top between the time that it was delivered and we used to pick up the bottles, which is maybe 2 hours later. They used to be really early in the morning. And then sometimes if they didn't have the normal, like I think it was the silver top milk, they used to leave us a gold top, which is absolutely wonderful. So that's why I grew up with that, you know, desire. Or when I went to America, I missed the creaminess of milk, and I missed cream, clotted cream and things like that, because I was a Devon girl for a little while. Okay, so what next? I have my little list here so I don't forget. Yes, let me see, I'm sorry. Opening the doors. I think I might have mentioned that on another video, and I know it's old-fashioned, but I think it's super nice if men open a door for a woman. I mean, and what's to stop us ladies from doing that the other way around? I mean, it's just a courtesy thing, isn't it? It's not, to me, it's got absolutely nothing to do with inferiority. It's got nothing to do with being less equal or, you know, condescending at all. It's to do with respect and caring about people and friendliness. There's that word again. So anyway, I do think that that's looking like a custom that's gone or losing. We're losing it either way. All right, so when I was, next one now, when I was about 5 or 6, we went to an area in Sussex called the Camber Sands. So anyone local in the southeast or southwest even of England might remember Camber Sands. And they used to have donkeys, and maybe they still do, but I was kind of put off with the donkeys because one bit me on my arm and I've never forgotten it. But they used to have donkey rides. Don't think they do that anymore. And I think it's sad because a lot of these things that we used to have in England have possibly disappeared because of all the worries about risk assessment and on school trips and, you know, things like that. So I think a lot of the fun has gone out for the natural, innocent fun has gone for children nowadays. I really do. That's my opinion. Anyway, so okay, the next one, smoking areas. Nowadays, I really don't care if there's a smoking area or not, but you know, when I was a smoker for a while in my life, I'm sad to say. I wish I hadn't, but I did. And it happens, doesn't it? Some people go through that time of smoking. And there, wherever I went, I always remember that there was a smoking area, or you could smell the smoke coming from somewhere where there was a little, little place somewhere. And now you hardly ever see that, so I think they're on their way out, which is obviously for people's health, I have to say. Not wanting to offend anyone, but it's better for your health if you're not smoking. Allow me to say that. But yeah, smoking areas, don't see them. I know they exist, I know they're around, but they used to be everywhere when I was here last anyway. So that's not so much of a custom, I know, but it's definitely something that was part of the culture here that is not. So let's hope that that means we're getting healthier as a nation. All right, so next one, the rag and bone man. Do you remember the rag and bone man? When I was up to, I would say, probably 18, because that's when I left and my house and my parents and moved away from the area in Devon where we were, and I used to hear that rag and bone, and you'd hear it getting from very distant away, coming slowly, louder and louder. And I have to say I was a little bit scared, but that was when I was small. And of course, when I got to 7, 8 or 9, I knew what it was. But when you're a smaller child, you're thinking, well, what's that? Hello, there's some more ducks. So I remember the rag and bone, definitely. I mean, it was part of the English culture that I think has gone. Again, there may be scrap merchants coming around now, but it's not nearly the same as it used to be. So whether we care about these things or not, we observe that they're missing and they're gone for the most part. So does anyone remember Stepstone Son, by the way? I mean, I was small when that was on, very, very young, but even so, I remember it. I don't particularly say that I followed it, but I remember it. Okay, what else? Sorry. So conkers at school, yes. I remember the boys mainly, they used to play with conkers. I suppose conkers have got replaced by certain type of cards now. But yeah, conkers used to be part of school life, or marbles maybe, But the boys mainly, or the girls, if they were interested in that, they used to bring in these prize big conkers and talk about it at playtime, who's going to win. So I haven't seen those for a long time. Anyone? So, sorry, last one, my pages on my book that I use are blowing. Catalogues, yes. I guess it's all to do with being online nowadays, but the catalogues, my mum used to have certain ladies or kind of collective catalogues. Do you remember those? And as soon as she got it through the post, I used to, Mummy, can I please look at your catalogue? I mean, the likelihood of her getting anything was hi. Bye. Yeah, it's nice to say hi, isn't it? Yeah. Always. Yeah. Now, my guess is that they're visiting. Some of you, if you're watching, you might think, oh, Steffi, you're down on English people. I'm not. I'm just making observations, and like I said in another video, I am in the reality business, so I'm just really reporting and sharing what's the reality is, rather than it be a personal thing. But yeah, that was a good example of friendliness. They look to me like they're visitors, but anyway, that's the breaks, isn't it? So there's some customs, and maybe a better word might be just like traditions or whatever, but there's lots of others as well. If you've got any that you can remember that you'd like to see coming back, or that you're glad that they're gone, let us know, because this is a community channel and I really want to hear from people. I want to share and see how you're doing, see how, if you're in England, if you're in the UK, what do you do up there in Scotland? I don't know much about Scottish customs. I'd like to hear about those. My granddad, actually my step-granddad, was from Banff in northwest or northeast Scotland. So I'm very interested in learning about different cultures. And the funny thing is, I was just sharing at the farmers market with this lady just before I leave you all for today. I shared with her that I feel like a foreigner coming back to the UK. It's a strange feeling. It's very, very strange. Even it's coming up for 2 years in May that I've been here, but I still feel like a stranger. So it's been wonderful to share with you today. I'm looking forward to your responses and comments, and I hope you're having a good day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.